You're
Hey,
right.
how's life?
Um, Good. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I'm having one of those like days where everything kicks in again, and you're like, "Oh, this is going to go on for a while."
Right.
Um, like I kind of like I'm good at taking things day by day normally, and then every now and again I'll just be like, "Oh, fuck this! I just want to go out on tour." But then you realize, there's lots of more important things to think about. How are
Yeah.
you?
I'm good, yeah. I'm sort of like trying to write, but it's a bit of a strange time to write, I find. It's like, I guess, like when you know that's what you should be doing, somehow, I don't know, it makes me not want to do it.
Yeah.
Bad. But,
Yeah, being creative under the
bit,
cost of
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Also, it sort of feels a bit like weirdly selfish. I don't know, like to kind of make it about you or something. I don't know.
I see. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I
but
mean, I guess you have the kind of the weightlessness of it being everyone's thing. Like it's kind of sharing your experience.
mm,
I had pangs of guilt when I was talking about my daughter's death in the second album, just because I was like, I don't want it to be all like about me. Like it's not, it's a strange thing.
mm,
You just find yourself not wanting to moan, and then you realize that you're giving other people a voice.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know
That's
what I mean? So I don't know.
maybe it's a kind of an English thing to sort of have guilt about
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about yourself or something.
absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely that kind of stiff upper lip crap. It doesn't do anyone any good
I know,
ever.
right? It really doesn't.
No, no.
I'll begin this by saying to people watching that you can donate to venues' crowdfunding campaigns by going to the donations page on independentvenueweek.com. I've said that now. That was really hard to remember. I had the same thing about the Civ brain, but
Yeah.
I guess like I mean, for you, what was the first venue when you were starting out that you imagined if I played there, like then I've finally made it? Do you remember? Was there a venue that was that for you?
Yeah, yeah. The Louisiana in Bristol actually
Okay, I don't think I know that one.
is magic. It's like it's a pub on the end of a row of houses right on the docks near Spike Island in Bristol. So it kind of looks like, there's kind of like they call it a Flatiron building in New York, that kind of end of the road. It's like that, but only 2 stories high. Um, Looks a bit like a boat. I worked there for 4 years and I saw lots of amazing artists come through there. Um, it's only 160 cap, I think, maybe 140. But I worked there for 4 years and I loved it. And I always just thought if I could sell that out, I'd be done. That's really,
And
um,
did you get to do that in that venue?
yeah, not straight away. We played there, but maybe I think it was, yeah, we did our first EP. Oh, was it our first EP? Or maybe I think it was our first EP release or our first album release there, and we sold it out, and it was, yeah, it was great. Sweaty. I got them to turn the aircon off for like extra
Yeah,
sweat, and I
love it
regretted
when,
it.
like I love gigs when like you're sweaty. Like my
Yeah.
nightmare is like aircon. I hate it. It's like such a buzzkill.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because I think people would expect us to like it because it cools us down, but there's something just you don't want any artificial,
No,
like, what's the word, comfort. It's like you don't need it. You want the violence of it. You want the kind of
you're primal,
human.
don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're a better lyricist than me. Primal, that's the word.
And so, like, who did you see play at this venue? Like, what was the best show you saw?
Nadine Shah
Okay.
was amazing there. um oh, there's a guy, he used to sing with like I think he used to busk on the streets in America somewhere. Willis L. Beale.
Oh, right, I don't know him.
Oh my God, he's amazing. So he's got an amazing voice. I think he was on like a talent show or something, and then they kicked him off because he was just like not into it. I think like behaviorally he was like dodgy or something. I can't remember. Anyway, he kind of sings. There's a really beautiful video of him just turning on a ghetto blaster type thing and just singing with it. He'd be like, mate, that's how he'd busk, is singing with a ghetto blaster. Is it Willis L. Beale? Yeah, it is. There's his blogger. Did you ever watch the blogger takeaway shows?
Yeah.
Have you done one?
Yeah, I did one in a car park, which is really cool, actually.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was really
I can
fun.
imagine that's sick. I haven't seen that one actually. Yeah, so he's done one of those, and it's insane.
Right, I have to check
it's insane. It's actually Ondine. Did you do it with Ondine?
I can't remember now.
Yeah, it's her favourite one. It's Willis L. Beale's.
Right.
One of the people that organises it. So.
Right.
But yeah. Apart from that, just like lots of good bands and stuff. But those two stand out in my memory bank right now. But yeah, I think that was part of my plan. Was always like all my goals were kind of reachable. They weren't too like, I never thought, right, one day we're going to play on the Park Stage at Glastonbury. Obviously I dreamt of that, but that wasn't me making it. I think for me it was always like the thing that I could see in front of me was enough. That was what I wanted to be.
Because there's a good like music scene in Bristol, right? I mean, they've got some good venues. I mean, I remember playing one where you're in maybe it's the one you're talking about. It's like a boat. It's like a boat venue.
The Thekla. Yeah.
Yeah, I've played that a couple of times. That's a cool.
It's magic.
Place.
Yeah. I DJ'd there. I was a resident hip hop DJ there for I was a resident DJ there for 6 years. But I did hip hop for the last 4. Yeah, it's a great place.
Good audiences in Bristol, I feel.
Do you?
Yeah, I feel like they listen and like they seem sort of turned on to it. That's what I found. You're not a fan of your native audience?
Of an Idols audience, absolutely. Like, because we've been doing it for what, 11 years, 12 years, whatever. But like, man, they're tough.
Yeah, do you find?
Yeah, especially because obviously I was, before I ever was in a band, I was going to gigs. So I kind of, I don't know, I was always a bit like, fucking Bristol crowds are so dry. But then when we started playing, we kind of had this kind of inclusive, theatrical, sometimes pantomime element to our show. So it got people involved, and like we never really struggled with any crowd. We were always warned, this crowd would be shit. And then we just, some are tough, but I always found Bristol quite a tough crowd not from a artist point of view, but from being a member.
Yeah. I mean, how did you get your sort of on-stage presence? Was it like something that you intentionally cultivated, or is it just naturally what came out? Or
I intentionally cultivated the unintention of it. Like, I really purposefully went out after years. Like, I drink a lot and do drugs around shows. Not often before, much. Like, I drink before shows. Never do drugs. But I would drink a lot. And I just thought I was, doing a good job. And then I don't know how many years into it, but I suddenly just did a sober show, and I just realized how much more visceral and immediate it was. And I just loved it so much that I just carried that on. I'm just going to turn off this WhatsApp thing. Sorry. But yeah, like I kind of realized that the there was a real kind of lucidness to sobriety. And then
Mhm.
from that moment on, I like realized that the best way I could kind of be at my best on stage was to unthink and to not think and be in the moment. And to do that, I had to get better at singing and remember my lines and have a real purpose in being on the stage, rather than, it wasn't about like me projecting myself to the world. It was just about me being there in the moment and really absorbing the energy. So it took me a long time, quite a few years, to really learn how to just not think.
Yeah. It's a bit
Um,
of a head fuck, isn't it? Because it's like you have to be intentional to get good at what you're doing, and then you have to be intentional about forgetting everything that you've learned to get to a place of instinct. But it's like, I mean, I guess obviously you can have instinct just inherent in you, but you know, there is something about learning the trade of not being a performer, because I personally don't like that, the idea of being a character or performer.
mm,
I prefer the idea of like you're finding something really truthful in yourself that won't be allowed to come out in our normal way of life because there are rules about social interaction. And so when you feel like you want to break out of that, that's the moment. And this stage is like, it's almost like Greek theatre or something. It's like, here you are, this is your way of experiencing and expressing the human condition in whatever way you want, and anything goes.
mm.
And it's yeah, but it's quite a weird thing, isn't it, that you have to kind of learn and unlearn to not think.
I think
It's the truest form of performance in a sense, isn't it?
yeah, I think you have the added one. As far as I don't know if you sound like you're a trained singer. Like you sound like you've got you know how to sing properly. Like you learn. You
Yeah,
don't sound like you just went fuck it. I'm gonna start singing. Um, and also you play guitar,
yeah,
like
that
like you're ringing a bell.
helps.
Um, so those, I think those things, like it's a bit like that thing about Picasso, and that his early, when he was a kid, his technical skills of drawing were impeccable. um, and that idea to be childlike, in to draw a childlike cow, that kind of cubist abstract form of a cow, to make that a free form, beautiful, expressive, violent version of a cow being bombed in Guernica, for instance.
Mhm.
You have to know how to draw a cow properly.
Yeah.
And I think like the worst thing about new bands is when their presence on stage is dislocated by their instrument. So they're looking down and they're concentrating.
Yeah.
So for me, like I find it, there's like levels of that. Like Idols is kind of like the guys, the two guitarists especially, like hammer their guitars. It's not, they write the songs around the idea of like that it's a pounding, it's percussive, it's not necessarily intricate, you know. They don't create landscapes as much with the sound as other guitarists do, because they're a lot more violent on stage, aggressive, or however you want to say it. So I think you the balance for your shows, which are equally as emotive, is fucking hard because you've got way more to do. And you know, like if I'm out of tune, it would be hidden well.
Well, I mean, if
What I'm
I'm
saying is, I think you're fucking amazing.
oh, well, likewise to you. I mean, if I sing out of tune, I just have to like play a really loud guitar note, and no one will hear it. You know.
Well, maybe but yeah, I mean, but what I find interesting is that I've seen lots of performers, or artists, I should say, who's, well, no, they are performers, because what I'm saying is I don't believe them. They're technically gifted.
Mm.
Like I was listening to this artist, I've forgotten her name. sorry, I'm just going to check on my phone what her name is, because I think it's important to say who it is. She's very new and seeming Celeste.
Oh yeah.
So the track I was listening to was an early track of hers called Lately. I was listening to it this morning. And it's just something about her that I believe. And I was thinking about it on my walk this morning. Why do I believe her and not lots of other gifted pop or R&B or soul singers that are about at the moment? There's a plethora of them. And I don't know, none of them stood out. Her voice is obviously incredible, but it's the writing of the songs, it's her intonation, it's the way she holds the words. I haven't seen her live. I've seen videos of her live. I just think there's something unwritten that, you know, that some people have, some people don't, you know.
Yeah. There's a simplicity to it in that it doesn't need to go via the head to get to the heart. Like, it goes straight to your heart. I mean, that's what I love about lyrics, and what I love about your lyrics is it feels that I'm really getting to the core of something in as few words as possible. And I mean that in a compliment way, in that, you know, it feels very direct, not necessarily in a pop sense, because I find that distracts, because it's not about outcome. It's like the way you say it, I feel it as if you're saying it to me. You know,
that makes me happy, because that was my intentions. I got it from I did that. I kind of learned on the job. You know, I just started the band, didn't know what I was doing, and I found that like the less I worried, especially after my mum kicked the bucket, I kind of cared less about what people thought. And I thought, you know, what is really achievement? What do you want from this? If you're doing it for everyone else, it's not going to work. So, and then I realized that me in life, like, I have no patience. I'm not a flowery person. I mean, I love flowers, but I don't love walking around the subject. I want to talk about it. I want to get it done. And I don't like repeating myself in that way. But I found that repeating myself in songs and using that as a weight, and like getting to the point, saying it clearly, and then just repeating that as like this jackhammer thing really pleased me. And it made me realize that to fill a song, I didn't have to say lots. I could just say the same thing. And if I have to keep going, I'll just say the same thing over and over again. And that gave me the confidence to kind of be blunt, because I'm blunt. And then Kanye West Jesus came out. And there was just this way where some of his lyrics were like so illustrative of his psychopathy.
Great sentence.
Yes.
Congratulate you on that sentence.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm a pretentious prick at times. Yeah, like, but yeah, he's like, I know he got mocked for it as well, and like, I get it. What was it? It was something like, in a damn French restaurant, hurry up with my damn croissant. That's it. I
am a god, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm in a French house restaurant. Hurry up with my damn croissant. But like, it is ludicrous. But I found that brave, because lyrically he'd proven himself on earlier albums sometimes, and that just fearlessness to just kind of sum yourself up by any means possible, without kind of dragging it out. There's a real bravery to it. And also the kind of music that we make, it is more punctual, it's more frictive. It's just like, get it out there. So I like that.
Yeah.
But I think I liked about your lyrics, something I always wonder about as well. There's not many times I don't find myself enjoying escapism. I don't like fantasies. very much. Like I was a film student, and I was always into like Mike Leigh and kind of like French surrealism that uses realism even. So anything that was just kind of I could relate to. I haven't got much of an imagination in that sense, I guess. Or maybe I do, I don't know. I don't really know what it means. But anyway, so not very often do I have artists that I really am infatuated by that take me to another place. Not to say that your world isn't visceral, but there's something, especially about Hunter, where it was like watching June for the first time. And do you know what I mean by that?
Like that, yeah, thank you.
Like you're just like, I wonder, do you want that? Do you want it? Is it your world, or is it your world? Is it your world painted in an abstract way, or is that your realism? Is it you, or is it your Dali-esque you? Like, do you know?
Well, I don't know, like I feel like I try and recreate a world where I have some kind of control, because actually I really hate not being in control, and I hate that I hate it. I don't find it sexy. I don't find it interesting. It just causes anxiety to not accept that you can't control your life. And the closest thing that I have to therapy to deal with that issue is to write songs where I am the god of a world that I can control. And so I guess I like to turn it into the world that I wish was there, or that I readdress things that made me feel something particularly strong in a song, as if you're sort of like reliving it to somebody or something. I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like it just is amplification, isn't it? It's like however we find a way
yeah,
to amplify our wants, whether it's catharsis or escape or yeah.
people used to always ask me in interviews, is it therapy? And I always used to say no, because for me, it can be incredibly painful to make a record, to have to make all these final decisions, to kind of, when you get so obsessed with it and it's all you think about and it's all you are and it becomes everything. It's fucking exhausting. And I'm like, how could anyone say that's therapy? I need therapy from making records, like, but then, but then I don't know, actually, I guess like this whole experience of lockdown has made me appreciate that side of making music more, and that it makes me just want to make noise. It's like this thing is happening that I can't control, and my way of dealing with it is to make some noise. And I write stuff that's very, at the moment, it's just very simple. Like I take one word that I'm feeling, like the word sludge. One of them was called Sludge, and I just made like a 7-minute piece of music that sounds like sludge, and it made me feel so good. And I was like, this is the feeling that I want to remember, when I'm, trying to write a record, when it feels so important that actually this is what it's really about. And I really enjoyed that experience, I guess.
That's cool. So that like it, I mean, that's it, isn't it? Therapy in terms of actual therapy. I had therapy today. A lot of it I've learned recently in cognitive behavioral therapy, especially, is about learning to not fight how you feel, but just accept, which changes that feeling by just the very nature of naming it and allowing it.
Yeah.
So like, I'll just sit there and be like, it's okay to feel anxious. This is an anxiety drive. This is an anxiety inducing time, for everyone in some degree. So it's about naming it, feeling it, and allowing yourself to be it for a bit. Yeah. And then it suddenly just alleviates. It's kind of like you're putting yourself in a corner. You don't have to be in a corner. You can just be stressed for a bit. And like I was talking to Lee, our guitarist, yesterday about this thing I was reading where you just allocate half an hour in your day to worry. And suddenly it changes the notion of what worrying is.
Yeah.
You'll be like, tomorrow at 5, I'll just sit down and have a think about things that stress me out.
Yeah.
And then throughout the day, you're like, oh, I'll do it at 5.
Yeah.
And then at 5, you can sit down and it's not, you can just decompartmentalize it.
Yeah.
Suddenly it changes the notion of what stress is.
Yeah.
Which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
But I mean, see, it's a different thing for me writing. I actually, without getting him in trouble, Nick Launay, who we both worked with, he said you were a perfectionist. That was how he described you. He said you were amazing and all that stuff. But his comment was on how unconcerned we were in the studio compared to you. We're like, yeah, that's great. Yeah. Take like first take. He's like, whoa. We're like, no, it's done. Like, what? He said you were a perfectionist. So I can understand that being a very different thing. But then again, it is the nature of your music. Like I said, I think if you sang out a tune, people would be like, oh, not to put pressure on you, Anna. You going out there. No, but the point is you can sing in tune. People understand that I can't fucking sing. So, well, not as well anyway.
Wow. I mean, I have to say, the vocals that you did on my song, Wish, which we haven't actually had a chance to chat about. I wanted to thank you so much for doing that. It's amazing.
That was my absolute pleasure. Loved it.
Thank you.
I loved it. It was weird. I got the email or the phone call. I can't remember what. A day after, I was listening to your album on a plane, but I listened to it about 3 times, and I was like, "How weird is that?" And I didn't get this what the song was. I was like, "Oh, what song?" And I guessed. I was like, it was Wish, and another one. I can't remember which one. I was like, it'll be one of those 2. It's funny that, isn't it? Like what? Like who would play? Who would you get to play you in a film?
Well, it would definitely be a guy. It would be a small guy. Let me think. I don't know. Oh, what's that name? The name of that guy, Timothy Chalet or something? The guy with the jaw.
Oh, Shyamalan.
Yes. Yeah, because like he's like how I wish I looked. You know.
I'd be happy if I looked like him. Yeah. I actually, yeah. He's one of those actors where I didn't know anything of him. I watched Call Me by Your Name, and obviously it blew my mind in so many ways. That last scene is just like,
yeah.
Before that, it was There Will Be Blood was like the best, and that was obviously the final scene. But that scene at the end of There Will Be Blood was like, there's never going to be a better scene in film.
Yeah.
That was like in such a very completely different way. But I was just in awe of it. I just thought it was so beautiful. I'm not really his acting. It was the other guy more so for me. But after that, he was fucking everywhere. I couldn't get away from him.
That's very true, yeah.
It's not okay to be jealous of a fucking, what is it? Something. It's bullshit.
So who would play you in a film then?
Oh, if I could choose anyone, it would be the guy. He's in Tyrannosaur. He's the husband in Tyrannosaur. Have you seen Tyrannosaur?
No.
He's in a bunch of Mike Leigh films. He's got like a beak like me. Let me have a look. Hold on. I can do this. Sorry, I can't see you right now. But I'm going to do some, because they can edit this out. Or actually, no, keep it in. This is my typing face.
Nice, like it.
Thank you. Oh, where the fuck is he?
Do you mean this guy?
Oh, hold on.
You mean this guy?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
What's his name?
Eddie Marson.
Eddie Marson. There you go. That's
Okay.
really weird. He wasn't on any of the IMDb's.
I can see it.
Oh, you're a better researcher than me. Is there anything you're not better than me at?
I've got a load of questions for you from your fans. So I'm gonna ask you some of them now.
Okay,
You
cool.
ready
Yeah.
for this? So Steve West Sussex, Joe, what was the moment when you realised that people got what the band was about?
I haven't realised that, to be honest. It's not something that I think I'll ever realise. I think people might get misconstrued in that because what a lot of people, this is an interesting thing to talk to people about, really, in this context where no one can reply. Like, if you're not in, if you're not Anna Calvi and you're watching Anna Calvi, you consume the idea of who Anna Calvi is. You're not Anna Calvi, you don't know Anna Calvi, and Anna Calvi doesn't know who Anna Calvi is, really. That the beauty of art and the beauty of music is that we're constantly on an existential exploration of what that means to be us. So if we don't know, they don't fucking know. And I think just because sometimes I say overtly political things and I'm quite blunt with my words, I seem more self-assured or like I've got an agenda that people should understand and get behind and believe in. It's like, yeah, obviously I want people to believe in themselves and I want self-love and I want, a social utopia where there's an egalitarian dictator that just tells everyone to stop being bellends. But that's not the music. That's me. So I don't know. Every now and again, something hits me where I feel absolute elation, and like I'm part of something much bigger than myself. Like at Glastonbury when I cried and things like that, where you just are consumed by the love of being there. Um, I don't know. I don't know what Idols is about yet.
Yeah, I mean, also like part of the experience of being an artist is to constantly scratch the itch of trying to get to something closer to the truth, right? So if you did feel that people completely got it, then you're kind of done, really.
Exactly, that's it. I mean, if you were in a position where your music, you get it, then it's like I think that's only in hindsight can you truly understand that. So it's dead. Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Flocko RJ says, did it take time for you to discover how you want to perform on stage? And is it something that evolved alongside the music? I guess we kind of covered that a bit, but.
Yeah, I mean, there was like the only thing I would say is for maybe quite a few years, I wanted to be more beautiful. I wanted to be a beautiful singer. I wanted to sound like Orlando Weeks or Tom York or Anna Calvi. And what I actually sounded like was someone who hadn't had any singing lessons. So yeah, I think I was trying to put on other people's masks because I didn't have enough self-confidence. And then around the time my mum died, I gave up wanting to be anyone else and really just go through it. And that came out in tone as well as lyrics because I suddenly had a lot of catharsis there and I had a lot of rage and I didn't want to be that horrible, spiteful little man anymore that was just passive aggressive to his partners and aggressive to his peers. So yeah, it came out in the music. So yeah, it was I don't know how long, but around second EP.
It's very specific. What do the lyrics "I drained my body full of pins" mean? And secondly, what is the best favourite line you've ever written?
Oh man. All right. I've drained my body full of pins is a metaphor for self-harm. I was exhausted by drugs and alcohol, self-loathing, bulimia, violence, awful relationships, lots of cheery stuff like that. That's what the lyric means. And my favorite lyric of all time, I don't know. I can't remember my lyrics. I don't think it's important that I have a favorite. I think right now, there are ones that I'm really proud of. I just can't remember them. You know, ones where you're like, I nailed it. You're like, no, I don't. Not an asshole like you, Joe. I don't know. I can't think of any lyrics right now. I'm nervous, Anna.
Do you think like aggression or violence is, I mean, like, is it a fuel that we need as artists, you know? I mean, like, because violence, does it always have to be bad? I mean, because I was thinking about how you are on stage and your relationship, say, to your body, and it seems like you sort of give up your body to the audience, to the stage, and like that you would be comfortable. It feels almost like you don't feel pain anymore. Like, and I wonder. This is my question, you know, like, because I think about this sort of stuff a lot, like our relationship to our bodies and stuff, and that. What does it feel like for you when you're on stage?
It doesn't feel like I don't feel pain. That's probably why, because I do. It's like I really am just completely in the moment. I don't have that. Don't do that. It might hurt. Or although I never get in the crowd, but I like the sense of containment. Like I want to be part of that, part of the music, and that I don't know what it is, but I think violence for me. I talk about violence a lot. It's like violence from my past is like fighting and just being horrible to my body in different ways. Whereas now it's a brushstroke, you know, it's a guitar tone, it's a beat, it's a lyric, it's a word, it's how you say a word. You can say love in a violent way. And
it fulfill the thirst. Doing it with a brushstroke, does it fulfill the need to express it?
Yeah, it's the only way I want to, really. I don't want violence in my life. I really like, until maybe 2 years ago, I cowered from conflict for a while because I think I was traumatized a bit just by life. But I was really like, the violence was like just circumstance, like having people ripped away from you is a violent thing, whether it's death, cancer, or someone you love. I don't know, whatever, COVID-19, whatever it is, there's violence in life, and things happen. My daughter dying is the most violent thing that's ever happened to me. It's the most violent thing I've ever seen. And that's a violence that I need to express. And I want to do it in a way where I get it out and it gives other people a voice and a platform to feel safe in that it doesn't just happen to them. One of the most dangerous things that happened to me in times of loss was thinking that I was on my own, isolated in the world. Thinking I was the only one going through it for two reasons. One, loneliness just amplifies fear and all the horrible things that, but also it makes you, when you feel isolated, it makes you kind of self-absorbed and you lose a sense, it's almost like protection, you lose a sense of empathy. and
Mm.
you start being an asshole to yourself, thus everyone else around you. So for me, the violence is necessary because of the work. It's the same in your art. I think the violence is, there's a darkness and a violence there. Doesn't mean I think you carry a flip, a flip knife on you. Like Nick Cave. Nick Cave is another great example. Like
Yeah.
that violent, dark brushstroke that he has in his books, and then, to be fair, he seems like a very scary man in his early interviews, but in his older interviews, he doesn't seem so scary. But I wouldn't like to have interviewed him
Yeah,
when he
definitely.
was in his 20s. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, he was bang on the smack then, so
Yeah.
not.
I mean, I definitely think it's interesting as a woman expressing violence because, maybe not violent. I mean, I'm not violent in my life, but I mean more like violence in music, obviously. Like, yeah, like playing the guitar can feel very violent, and
Mm,
it does feel cathartic when there's so much pressure on you to kind of be nice. It's like it's such a great feeling to be on stage and just scream, and like not feel that you have to be in this perfect box.
do you
I
feel that
enjoy
you have a pressure to be nice because you're a woman, or because of you as a person and how you're perceived?
that. I think it's a bit of both. You know, I think probably you know it's to do with family dynamics, but it is also just the way that I guess a lot of women feel is that you want to make other people feel comfortable and you don't want to ask for too much, and you want to sort of smile, and this is like something that you really have to confront as an artist, because all of those things that you're taught to be as a woman are the antithesis of making good art, because you have to be kind of ugly in your work. You have to say things that are kind of a bit gross and do it in a way that kind of doesn't show you in the best light. But
Mm.
in a way, that's what's really great about making music, is it's kind of reminding you of, like, that's not all you are, that you
Mm.
can kind of be more.
I've never thought about that. Maybe it's definitely because I'm a man, but that expectation, and not because I'm a man. There are men out there that definitely would have thought about stuff like this more, but that expectation of the behavior of women and how that does clash with art,
Mm,
because there's something very intimidating about, I don't know how to say this, like Tracy Emin
mm,
seems like an intimidating character.
mm,
Before I met you, you seemed like an intimidating character. Obviously, there are obvious examples that are fetishized, Grace Jones, but there's a strength there, and I think it's just down to representation, strong, violent, not in a literal way, in an artistic way, role models.
mm,
uh, Women aren't allowed to play them very often. So when it does happen, it's like, oh,
mm,
that's intimidating to me, just because I'm not used to it.
mm.
Also, I guess I'm intimidated by strong, violent men. Actually, no, I'm not. Just realised, actually, definitely not. And I think that's one of the lines that I worry about, is that people think that I used to be not a bully, but I used to be an asshole. And I want to come across as affable. I want people to feel comfortable around me, to talk to me and be honest and be vulnerable around me, because that's what I admire most. That's why I admire my father so much, because he's a very patient, very loving, very listening, very welcoming person.
Mm.
And like, that's what I want to be. I want my daughter to feel safe around me, not in a way where it's like, I'm emotionally safe.
Yeah.
I don't want strangers to feel like that. And people that see us as a band, I think I quite easily get written off as a kind of stampy, angry, typical bloke.
Yeah, I don't know though, because when we hear your lyrics, you know, you're actually being quite vulnerable in a way, you know, and you're expressing things in a very clear and from the heart, you know. There's an emotion to it, and also, you know, just from speaking to you, you are the opposite of, you know, intimidating, or, you know, you are all the things that you wish yourself to be, from the little time I have spent chatting with you.
Thank you. I've got a question for you. Do you ever go on runs in the morning? Do you ever go for runs?
No.
It's like,
Very small.
I'm thinking about like the relationship, you know, the roles that men and women play, right? So I go for walks in the morning. I just walk. I ran twice in the last 4 months, and my hips, they don't lie. I'm not supposed to lie. So anyway, so I walk every morning, and I always smile, but I've got two smiles.
Okay,
I've got a smile for people,
right,
and I've got the smile for women runners.
right. Okay, I thought you were going to say dogs, but women running. Okay,
I don't acknowledge this.
no, okay,
They're not interested in me, and I'm
no,
not interested in them. I leave them be.
right. Okay,
Um,
so
no,
what?
so my normal smile for men and women walking about is, and I do that every time. My thing is, whenever someone smiles at me and I'm unknowingly just walking by, it makes me feel really good.
Right.
I'm like, oh, sick. They're smiling, strangers. It it's almost like I'm in the 50s. This is great. But so I do it as like a pay it forward thing. I just think it's nice to make someone feel good. Female runners, though, I think, oh, you just look like one of those fucking dudes who's like, you know, like any opportunity, and like I know it happens all the time. So my friends tell me, so this is I look at them,
Mm,
wait for eye contact, and look at the ground and go, isn't that weird?
that
I do
is
it every time. I can't go, I go,
right. It's like, I feel like if I was running and you did that, I would think he's thinking, um, shit, I really need to start running. That's what I would think that.
oh yeah?
Okay.
So you feel yourself an inspiration. Well, then I'm winning. That's all right then. I don't want to fucking. I think I just don't want to ruin someone's morning by looking like a pervert.
Yeah, I don't know though. There's the pervert way of doing that, and there's the non-pervert way. I reckon you can look women in the eye and,
Just don't rub the thighs.
no, try not to
Yeah, I won't do that.
go anywhere near the groin. But I think other than that, try it. You know, if someone tells you to fuck off, I guess you'll know.
I'll go back to the download.
So
The reason I asked you is because you're a woman, and I I haven't spoke to anyone else in weeks. This is great.
well, but then I have a problem is that, like, I want to look at people and go like that, right? But if I do that and then they just ignore me, like they look at me and don't respond, or they don't see me, like I feel so crushed that, like,
Really?
yeah, like, so I avoid eye contact. So if you saw me running, you would do either one of those things and I wouldn't even notice, because I would purposefully avoid eye contact with you.
That's fair enough. Well, I mean,
I really hate that about myself. I want to be able to, you know, look someone in the eye and,
what I do to relieve myself of the anger of being like buoyed off by some fucking angry or miserable person who's just like, you're not getting a smile from me, buddy,
yeah,
is I just think they were gonna smile, but they thought about it too long, and they're now walking away regretting it, thinking, ah, fuck.
yeah,
And then I kind of go, he's probably still thinking, should I go back and just give them a little smile? And then it's funny because I'm always like, because I'll do it. If someone smiles at me, sometimes I'll be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, that happens. And do you know, it's something like, it's a really small percentage of people that don't smile back when they're smiled to. It's like an evolutionary thing, but there's a small percentage of people that just don't smile back.
right. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to take my courage in both hands and smile at some strangers.
Let's do it.
What is the creative process like for Joe? And what is his remedy when inspiration seems to be lacking, if not entirely absent?
Aha, the age-old writer's block scenario. I just don't write. It's not there, it's not there. But like, I have a don't overthink it vibe. So all my lyrics I write in one go. So I finish a song in one go. So I'll listen to the music that we've written together a bunch of times until a phrasing, like a rhythm comes in, or a phrase, like an actual sentence or a word or a color. I kind of see a lot of shapes in our music or any music. So I try and build a picture around it. And then as soon as that thing hits, I just write it. But I realized, like you were saying at the start of this conversation, as soon as there's pressure on you to be creative, it's done. Just don't bother. Just take a break. Go for a walk. I always find going to art galleries helps. Like pictures and pictures often inspire poetry for me. Yeah, that way around. So I just think just go on a little like rest, you know. You don't have to always write. Some people write their lyrics down all the time. I don't write my lyrics down ever. I don't write. I just kind of wait till an idea pops in my head and then get it done. Because that way it's as kind of free as it can be for me. It's just how it works. Do you ever struggle on a lengthy basis, or do you just have cold spells?
Yeah, I definitely go through phases of not feeling inspired, and like I think just walking can really help. I just feel like it sort of massages your brain or something. It kind of, I find like I always come up with better ideas, and also I find working away from the page or the guitar or the microphone is really good. Like just thinking about what you want to say and kind of like trying to write it in my head before I kind of commit to it, even if it's just a sort of an idea of a song. I find good. But I think you just have to accept that it happens. It's like it's part of it, isn't it? It's like there's an ebb and flow. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it isn't.
Mm.
The worst thing is to get kind of frustrated with yourself.
Mm.
I think it just makes it worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, it's also, like you say, like, I think it's that the advice would be to just learn your craft first before you try and be too creative or put pressure on yourself to just be creative. Like that idea of just kind of getting the boring bit out of the way, allowing yourself to breathe. It's funny that the walking thing, just that being in transit really does help the creative side of my brain as well. I watched this thing of like, it's like a pie chart of the day, so 12 to 12. And it was like all these people in history that were like noted as being amazing. Charles Dickens, I don't know, Gandhi, whatever. I can't remember who they were. Gandhi probably wasn't one of them. And they all got up early. Not a lot of them slept very long, but they all went for a walk in the morning. All of them.
Right.
Their thing. I found that really interesting. So it must have something good.
Yeah. So that's the advice. And then the last question is, how has the pandemic shaped your creative process? Are you being creative at the moment? Are you working on something?
I was for a bit. I actually, I had a really bad spell last week where I just felt really down, like stuff in my personal life. I was having really going through a bad episode with someone, so it just took over, and I just know when to decompartmentalize and just say, right, I'm going to leave it for a bit,
Mm.
which is good because then you can just focus and just be. But yeah, like before that and now, we're writing album 4. Like we're kind of obviously album 3's not out yet, but we were going to be touring it
Yeah.
for a year, and we were planning on writing the album on the road a bit here and there, but now we're like, well, we've got all this time. We're all like learning Ableton music production stuff just to kind of. Me and Bowen are gonna do like live remixing and make some of our own music. So we had that anyway, but now we're all just remotely sending each other ideas, and like it's the most, what's the word? The most democratic writing we've ever done. Normally, one of us will come with an idea, shape the rest of the music around it. Whereas now we're all just kind of chipping in and writing on top of each other's parts, and it's really cool. I mean, it's kind of laborious, and I can't wait to get in a room together and smash out half an album in 2 days or something. That wouldn't happen. But yeah, I mean, again, it's like that thing of once you're, you know, on tour, you kind of romanticize the idea of just being able to be in your house and just relax for a couple of weeks, and you just get so much done. And obviously I'm getting more done than I would have before. I'm like, you know, learning French, I'm boxing, writing album for the boys, doing some other stuff, but I'm still like, if I suddenly go, right, you got to write these songs, and they won't come out. It's a funny thing, isn't it? But how are you getting on with it?
Yeah, like all right. Yeah, like I said, I guess at the beginning when the lockdown happened, I didn't really feel like doing it, but I'm definitely in a better place with it now, and enjoying it, enjoying doing it for me rather than with any kind of purpose in mind. And it's a weird thing. It's like you think that being really busy will sort of tire you out emotionally, but actually, not doing anything tires you out more than being busy. And I
Yeah,
have to keep reminding myself that that's the case. That I always feel better when I've done something, you know. So
yeah.
yeah.
It just breaks the day up, doesn't it? It's a long day. Are you busy though? Do you find yourself busy at the moment, or are you not busy?
um, I mean, I'm not crazy busy. I mean, I do writing every day, and I'm also trying to learn French. Not very well,
Oh, nice.
but
Is it on Duolingo or something?
well, they sent me a message yesterday saying that I'd made them sad with like a sad emoji because I haven't been on there for a few days. But it's like,
Wow.
yeah, but my girlfriend's French, so like the whole time we've been together, it's been this sort of pressure that I've got to learn, and now I can't find any more excuses. I can't
There-
really say,
there's
you know,
none.
I'm sure I can't do it.
Um, well, I think that's emotional blackmail. Getting a sad emoji from Duolingo. I think they need to change their game. That's a bit. Um, yeah, no, like that's hard though. Learning. Is she quite critical as a person? Is she quite chill?
No, she's pretty chill.
Because French people in the French language, man, they're scary.
Yeah, they
I
can
don't
be.
want to learn about French people. I just want to learn it and then speak it now and again.
Right.
Because I don't know, like they do that thing where they're like, what's that? You're like, oh, you know what I'm trying to say, for fuck's sake. And they're like, no, I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just such a bizarre language.
Yeah.
It's the best language. It's the best sounding for me.
Yeah. Is that why you're learning it? Just because you? You like the aesthetic?
I already knew a bit of French from school. I love France. I love the way it sounds. Yeah. Um, I've got no interest in other languages at the moment.
Mm.
But yeah, I just love French. I just
Yeah.
think it's great. I'd live there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for my daughter, I'd. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. But like, also like 30, starting a language now at 35, I just don't think I'd be. I think because I know the basics. I'm
Mm.
right. I've got
Yeah.
patience for it. But if I was starting completely fresh, maybe I'll just try it. Just see Swedish. I might try Swedish. What's it? Japanese. What's the most like? It'd be like an African language where they use completely different
Yeah.
parts of the mouth and that.
That would be.
Next time you see me, I'm going to be speaking like Somalian or something. I'm getting on it.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Joe, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was more nervous than I thought I'd be. You're still an intimidating person.
Well, you did great. You're
Um,
doing one next week, right? So.
yes, that's what I was going to look at my phone for because I am interviewing James, the singer of Crows, a friend of mine and a fellow Welshman.
Nice.
Not that I'm patriotic at all. Um, and yeah, please hold on. Let me get this up. I'm going to do this. Yeah, check out the interview, which is on Monday. But if you want to ask James questions through the vessel of me, see, this is you're so much better than I am. I'm like my dad. So go onto social media and tag the questions with hashtag IVW Take 5 by 5 p.m. Tuesday. You can also donate, again, as we said at the start, you can donate money to crowdfunding campaigns, to Independent Venue Week. They're all on the website and you could help out and save lots of people's lives, but more importantly, the creative thinking and the welfare of the human mind via art and music, and not let the fuckers win.
Well said. Well said.
Um,
Right. Well, lovely to chat with you, and hopefully see you on the road sooner than later.
do you drink Guinness?
Crossed. Sorry?
You drink Guinness?
No. No, I don't.
Oh, I was to say I'll buy you a Guinness. Do you drink champagne?
No.
Do you drink?
No, not really.
Neither do I.
There you go. You can buy me a pineapple juice. That's my drink of choice. Very
Have
well.
you ever had pineapple juice and apple juice mix?
I don't know if I have. Is that a good combo?
Oh my god, it's the best thing.
Right.
It used to be like a really good hangover cure, but now I haven't had it for a long time. I've been sober for 8 months. But
Yay.
yeah, no, pineapple and apple juice mix.
Right. Well, we'll do that. We'll have a pineapple combo at some point, hopefully.
Apple.
Palapple. We'll do a palapple.
All right. Well, thanks very much for your time. Yeah, hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, lots of love.
Much love.
Bye.